Galerius, one of the most influential yet controversial emperors, rose to power within the tetrarchy established by Diocletian. His reign encompassed military campaigns against the Sassanid Empire and internal conflicts with rivals like Constantine and Maxentius, bringing both triumph and turmoil. He infamously persecuted Christians, but then shifted towards religious tolerance with the Edict of Toleration towards the end of his life. Producing these videos requires significant time and effort. If you're able and willing to support our work, we've set up a Patreon page and opened up YouTube memberships. Your support would mean the world to us. To those who have already joined, our sincerest thanks. Origins. Galerius' exact birth year is uncertain, but historians estimate it to be around 250 to 260. Lactantius, an early Christian author, emphasizes Galerius' barbarian origins, noting that his mother, Romula, fled across the Danube to escape the Carpi. Galerius was born in the province of Dacia Ripensis. The fact that Emperor Gallienus took the title of Dacicus in 257 suggests that Romula may have fled from the Dacian province during these turbulent years, eventually settling in Dacia Ripensis. This is where Galerius was likely born, around 258 to 260, and where he spent his early years herding sheep on a rural property later named Felix Romuliana, after his mother. Before being appointed Caesar by Diocletian, Galerius had a distinguished military career serving under Emperor Probus and Aurelian. His bravery and skills quickly drew the attention of his superiors and led to his eventual promotions. His effective leadership and strategic insight facilitated his rapid rise through the ranks. It was likely within the military that Galerius and Diocletian first met, forming a relationship rooted in mutual recognition of military prowess and shared objectives for the Roman Empire. Diocletian, a former soldier himself, valued military competence and loyalty, qualities that Galerius embodied, fostering a deep sense of trust between them. Caesar. In Nicomedia, on the 1st of March, 293, Galerius was appointed Caesar by Emperor Diocletian. This appointment was part of Diocletian's broader strategy to stabilize and secure the empire known as the Tetrarchy. The Tetrarchy was a system of government that divided the empire into 4 parts, each governed by an emperor or a deputy. Diocletian, as the senior Augustus, chose Galerius as one of the 2 Caesars, a position just below the 2 Augusti, with Diocletian in the east and Maximian in the west. Constantius Chlorus was to become Caesar under Maximian to assist in governing the vast territories of the empire. Galerius was selected for his proven military abilities and loyalty, having demonstrated his skills in numerous campaigns along the empire's frontiers. His appointment was also influenced by Diocletian's desire to have strong and capable leaders to help manage the empire's complex and diverse regions. It also illustrates the trust Diocletian had for Galerius. As Caesar, Galerius was given control of the Danubian provinces, a critical area that required constant vigilance against barbarian invasions. In his new role, Galerius was tasked with not only military duties but also administrative responsibilities, which included maintaining law and order, collecting taxes, and enforcing imperial policies. His leadership was instrumental in strengthening the empire's borders and ensuring the implementation of Diocletian's reforms, including economic measures like the Prices Edict and religious policies, such as the persecution of Christians. Galerius's appointment marked the beginning of a period of significant influence and power for the Roman Empire, a level of dominance it had not experienced since Septimius Severus 9 decades earlier. The Persian Campaign. In late 296, war erupted between the Sasanian Empire and the Roman Empire. Early the following year, a revolt in Egypt demanded Diocletian's attention, prompting him to dispatch Galerius with a reduced force to confront the Persians. Galerius encountered King Narse in the battle between Cari and Callinicum, but suffered a defeat. Whether Diocletian was present at the battle is uncertain, but he quickly arrived in Antioch, issuing an official account that placed all the blame on Galerius. As a result, Diocletian forced Galerius to walk a mile ahead of his imperial cart, while still dressed in the purple robes of an emperor, A public humiliation meant to underscore his failure. Determined to restore his honor, Galerius regrouped and assembled a stronger force. In 298, he launched a surprise attack on King Nasser at Attila. Utilizing superior tactics and the element of surprise, Galerius led his troops through difficult terrain, catching the Sassanid army off guard. The Roman legions displayed remarkable discipline and combat prowess, overwhelming the Sassanid forces. This engagement resulted in a decisive victory, with Nasser fleeing the battlefield and Galerius capturing his wife, harem, treasury, and much of his court. Uplifted by this smashing victory, Galerius continued his campaign with renewed vigor and confidence. The destruction of the Sassanid field army and the demoralization of their leadership gave him a significant strategic advantage, restoring Roman prestige. Galerius advanced deeper into Sassanid territory, seeking to capitalize on his momentum. His forces moved into Mesopotamia, aiming to capture key strategic locations and further weaken Sassanid control. This phase of the campaign culminated in the siege of Ctesiphon, where Galerius once again emerged victorious. The successive Roman victories compelled King Nasser to negotiate peace. The severe losses and the capture of his family members, who were paraded as hostages, left him little choice. The peace negotiations concluded with the Treaty of Nisibis in 299. Under the terms of the treaty, the Sassanid Empire ceded several important territories to the Romans, including parts of Armenia and Mesopotamia. This agreement established a more stable and favorable eastern frontier for the Roman Empire, securing its borders against future Sassanid aggression. This stunning victory not only bolstered Galerius's position within the Tetrarchy, but also ushered in 4 decades of peace with Persia. Following his successful campaign against the Sassanid Empire, Galerius's reputation and influence within the Roman Empire was significantly bolstered. As a key figure in the Tetrarchy, he continued to support and implement Diocletian's extensive administrative and economic reforms. These reforms were aimed at addressing the challenges faced by the sprawling Roman Empire, including issues related to governance, taxation, and military organization. Galerius contributed to the reorganization of the empire's provinces, creating smaller and more manageable administrative units. This reorganization helped improve local governance and tax collection. To ensure a stable revenue stream for the empire, Galerius supported the implementation of a more systematic and fair tax system. These reforms were designed to reduce corruption and increase efficiency. Maintaining a strong and efficient military was crucial, and Galerius focused on the recruitment, training, and deployment of troops, ensuring that the empire's borders were well defended. One of the most controversial aspects of Galerius's later rule was his role in the persecution of Christians. A staunch pagan, Galerius viewed the growing Christian community as a threat to the traditional Roman religious and social order. Influenced by his mother, Romula, who was a devout follower of the old Roman gods, Galerius was a fervent advocate for the restoration of traditional Roman religious practices. In 303, under Diocletian's orders, but heavily influenced by Galerius, the great persecution of Christians began. Edicts were issued that mandated the destruction of Christian scriptures, churches, and the imprisonment of clergy. Christians were forced to make sacrifices to the Roman gods or face severe punishment. The persecution was intense and widespread, but ultimately it failed to eradicate Christianity. The Great Persecution is remembered as one of the most severe attempts to suppress the Christian faith in the Roman Empire. Ascension to Augustus. The next major phase of Galerius's life began with the abdication of Diocletian and his co-emperor Maximian in 305. This event was unprecedented in Roman history, as emperors typically ruled for life or until they were forcibly removed. Diocletian's decision to retire was part of his plan to ensure a smooth transition of power and maintain stability within the empire. On the 1st of May, 305, Diocletian and Maximian, at separate ceremonies in Mediolanum and Nicomedia, officially abdicated. Diocletian retired to his palace in Split, while Maximian retired to a villa in Italy. This left the positions of Augustus vacant, paving the way for the elevation of the Caesars. Galerius was elevated to the rank of Augustus in the east. Concurrently, Constantius Chlorus, the Caesar in the west, was elevated to Augustus in the west. As Augustus, he now had supreme authority over the eastern half of the Roman Empire, which included the Balkans, Anatolia, Syria, and Egypt. One of Galerius's primary concerns as Augustus was to ensure the continued stability and effectiveness of the tetrarchic system, which divided power among 4 rulers to prevent civil war and manage the vast empire more efficiently. To maintain the balance of power, Galerius appointed Maximinus Daza, his nephew, as the new Caesar in the east. In the west, Severus, who was a close friend to Galerius, was appointed as Caesar under Constantius Chlorus. Galerius sought to strengthen his position as the senior Augustus. However, these appointments proved disastrous for the future stability of the Tetrarchy. Maximian and Constantius both had sons who were completely sidelined in this new Tetrarchy, Maxentius and Constantine, who both felt slighted. When Constantius died in 306, his son Constantine was proclaimed Augustus by his troops in Britain. This proclamation was not sanctioned by Galerius, who only recognized Constantine as Caesar, leading to tensions within the imperial hierarchy. Simultaneously in Rome, Maxentius seized power with the support of his retired father. He declared himself Augustus and sought to establish his rule over Italy and Africa. Galerius, seeking to reassert control, sent Severus, the Western Caesar, to confront Maxentius. However, Severus was defeated, captured, and eventually executed. This failure further destabilized the western provinces and weakened Galerius's authority. Determined to restore his authority and suppress Maxentius's rebellion, Galerius decided to personally lead a campaign against him later, in 307. Galerius gathered a substantial force and marched into Italy, intending to decisively crush Maxentius's usurpation. Galerius's invasion, however, faced several challenges. The logistics of moving a large army across the Alps and into Italy were complex and taxing. Ensuring a steady supply of food, water, and equipment was a significant challenge. The rugged terrain of northern Italy made movement and communication difficult, hampering the effectiveness of Galerius's campaign. Maxentius had strong support in Rome and other parts of Italy. His ability to rally local support and utilize the city's formidable defenses presented a considerable obstacle for Galerius. Despite these difficulties, he pressed on, hoping to bring Maxentius to battle. However, Maxentius wisely avoided direct confrontation in open battle, instead opting to fortify his position within Rome. Galerius's efforts to breach Rome's defenses proved unsuccessful. The city's formidable walls and Maxentius's strategic use of the urban environment thwarted Galerius's attempts to capture the city. Unable to achieve a decisive victory, Galerius was forced to withdraw his forces. The campaign ended in a stalemate, with Galerius unable to dislodge Maxentius from his power base in Rome. The failure of Galerius's campaign against Maxentius had several significant implications. The successful defense of Rome bolstered Maxentius's legitimacy and control over Italy. His ability to withstand the senior Augustus's forces enhanced his standing among his supporters. The inability of Galerius to decisively deal with Maxentius highlighted the growing fragmentation and weakening of the tetrarchic system. The balance of power that Diocletian had established was increasingly undermined by these internal conflicts. The campaign also underscored the shifting power dynamics within the Roman Empire. The emergence of Constantine and Maxentius as powerful regional rulers challenged the authority of the established tetrarchs. Following his withdrawal, Galerius continued to seek ways to stabilize the empire. In 308, he convened the Council of Carnuntum. The Council of Carnuntum. The council brought together several of the most powerful figures in the Roman Empire at the time. Galerius, the senior Augustus of the East, convened the council. Diocletian, the retired emperor, was present to lend legitimacy and authority to the proceedings. Maximian, the former co-emperor who had been brought out of retirement to support his son Maxentius, attended seeking a resolution to the ongoing conflicts. The council aimed to address the various power struggles and restore stability to the tetrarchic system. Several significant decisions were made during the meeting. To counterbalance the influence of Maxentius and Constantine, Galerius elevated his trusted general Licinius to the rank of Augustus in the west. Licinius was tasked with restoring order and supporting Galerius's efforts to maintain the integrity of the Tetrarchy. The council sought to reaffirm the principles of the Tetrarchic system, emphasizing the importance of shared rule and the orderly succession of power. Diocletian's presence and endorsement of these principles were crucial in reinforcing their legitimacy. While Maxentius's rule was not formally recognized, efforts were made to negotiate with him and reduce hostilities. However, Maxentius remained in control of Rome and continued to assert his authority independently. The Council of Carnuntum was an attempt to restore stability to the Roman Empire, but its success was limited. The elevation of Licinius helped to provide a temporary balance of power and a counterweight to Maxentius and Constantine. This move prevented immediate further fragmentation of the empire. Despite the council's efforts, the underlying rivalries and power struggles continued. Constantine and Maxentius remained powerful and ambitious, leading to ongoing conflicts. The nomination of the officer Licinius to Augustus at the Council of Carnuntum greatly offended Maximinus Daza, who, as senior Caesar, expected the title for himself. Galerius attempted to placate him by abolishing the title of Caesar and acknowledging both Maximinus Daza and Constantine as Filios Augustorum, sons of the Augusti, in late 310. But by this point, both Caesars had adopted the title of Augustus for themselves and largely ignored this compromise. This standoff lasted until 310, when Galerius, bowing to a final ultimatum by Maximinus Daza, announced that all four members of the Imperial College, himself, Maximinus, Licinius, and Constantine, should have the title Augustus. In late 309 or early 310, Licinius moved into Italy from Pannonia, obtaining a number of towns in Istria from Maxentius. There is no evidence of fighting, although Maxentius did close his mints in northern Italy in 309, possibly in anticipation of this apparent invasion. After these small gains, Licinius made no further moves in this region, probably because he was needed on the Danube frontier. Towards the end of his life, Galerius underwent a significant change in his stance towards Christianity. In 311, suffering from a severe and painful illness, Galerius issued the Edict of Toleration, which ended the persecution of Christians. The reasons for this change are debated, but it is widely believed that Galerius sought to secure divine favor in his time of suffering and to stabilize the empire by ending the divisive persecution. The Edict of Toleration allowed Christians to practice their faith openly and called for prayers to be offered for the emperor's health. Galerius's health began to deteriorate severely. By 310, he was suffering from a painful and debilitating illness, which some ancient sources describe as a form of severe ulceration or possibly cancer. Galerius died in late 311. His death marked the end of an era and further destabilized the Tetrarchic system. The empire was soon plunged into further civil wars, as Constantine, Licinius, and Maxentius vied for supreme control. Final thoughts. Galerius's legacy is a complex one, encompassing both achievements and controversies. His military successes and administrative reforms significantly contributed to the stability and strength of the Roman Empire. However, his role in the persecution of Christians and the challenges he faced in managing the rivalries within the Tetrarchy also define his reign. The Edict of Toleration showcased Galerius's pragmatic approach to governance and his recognition of the changing religious landscape of the empire. This act set a precedent for the eventual acceptance of Christianity by the Roman state. In conclusion, after the Council of Carnuntum, Galerius continued to navigate the complexities of ruling a divided empire, balancing military campaigns, administrative reforms, and shifting religious policies. His efforts to maintain stability and address the ongoing power struggles were critical in shaping the future of the Roman Empire during a period of significant transition and challenge. Thanks for watching the video. If you found the video informative, please like and subscribe. If you have the means, please consider supporting our work on Patreon or via a YouTube membership. Next video in this series will be on Constantius Chlorus.